Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Accenture webinar on rapid application build using Oracle Autonomous Database Cloud. This session will be recorded. If you feel uncomfortable being included in the recording, you may drop off from this call. You may post your questions anytime in the chat window found in the right hand of the screen. Should you want to post anonymously, just tick on the post as anonymous in the box found below. So let's start. So our topic tonight will be around being able to rapidly develop with the Oracle Autonomous Database. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for spending their evenings with us. It will be an interesting topic as it's something that we're passionate about. Next. So I have with me a group of experts that are doing this day in and day out. We build applications literally at the speed of thought. So I have two of my colleagues here. First, let them introduce themselves during their section. But to introduce myself, I am Clark Ho. I'm a director here in Accenture, and I'm a certified senior technology architect. I have been within the IT industry for more than 20 years. So I've seen the kinds of technologies that has happened over since I graduated from college. So it's a very interesting time in technology today, where we're always at the pace of constant new technology, and the real thing that we need to do here is really to constantly innovate ourselves. So even after being more than 20 years in the industry, we still do the greatest and the most innovative things using the latest technology today. So how are we able to do that? Next, please. So as covered for today's topic, we'll cover why this is important, and we'll show you how we're able to do this using a very innovative technology called the Oracle Autonomous Database. So autonomous, it's analogous to having an autonomous vehicle, right? So you imagine your technology being autonomous. So we'll talk about that later. And then within that same session, we will create an application on the spot. So within the 30 minutes to an hour we'll have here, we'll actually show you how to create this literally within this session. And lastly, we'll have a Q&A around this. Next. So in today's age, how do we differentiate, right? It's organizations are actually facing an innovation gap. So as you can see, most companies are actually out innovating themselves. The companies that are actually the most innovative are the ones that actually stay ahead. And that's a given, right? It's given. You've seen it in all of the technologies you've seen that we've been introduced to, and these are things that the differentiator across different companies and even people, right, are the people who actually constantly innovate. And how are we able to do that? So there's a lot of issues, challenges in the world, but the problem we have is how fast can we actually solve them? So literally, we need to build things at the speed of smart. Meaning, we have a problem. No, we shouldn't be now bogged down by things like, oh, how am I gonna set this up? How am I gonna build it? How am I gonna, we should be able to come up with a solution and fairly quickly. And good news is the technology is out there. There's a lot of technologies out there that enables us to do it, and we'll just show you one of these technologies today. Okay, so what we're gonna demo to make something really great is we need to have a combination, not just technology, right? You need to have the right application. You need to have data to fuel that innovation. You need to have the infrastructure. You need to have you have to have a combination of human plus machine working together to make sure that these solutions come into light, along with companies and partners and ecosystems. So with that, let's get going. I'll hand it over to my colleague here, Joe, who will show us how to actually, so not only will we develop it from scratch, but we will create the platform that you will build on this live. So I'll hand it off to you, Joe.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Clark. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Ngo. I'm the custom application development for the our Philippine practice here in Accenture for Oracle Cloud applications. So I've been with the industry for around 20 years, going as far back as mainframe. So I've uh, worked with different databases, and currently I'm working with Oracle now. So what I'm going to show you is how do we start building our application. So the first step would be to go to cloud.oracle.com, and then from there, before you can start on creating your app, you have to create an account for Oracle. So Oracle provides a free trial account for you to work with their services. So you just have to go to their site, and then click on the Try Oracle Cloud link from there. It will be a few steps. You can complete the registration in a few minutes. It will require you to provide just like any cloud provider, it requires you to provide a credit card to verify that you are a real person. However, unless you upgrade to their paid account, you will not be charged for the service. So once you have already created your cloud trial account, you can go to their site, and so I have already created my trial account, so I would log in to that account. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to create an Oracle Autonomous Database. So here I have logged into our trial account. So actually we have created trial account to also try their different services. So I'm going to the autonomous database. So I'm logging in. Now I just have to click on the create autonomous database and then provide a name for the database. And then so I need a name. And then I just have to click on choosing the workload type. So there are two options here. One for if you're working with more analytic or large data analytic purpose, you use the data warehouse. But for more multi-purpose or a general workload, you use transaction processing. And then there's select the always free option, so that to make sure I don't have to pay. Then I have to select nominate a password for my database. Okay, and then I just click the create autonomous database. So this provisioning will take around 5 minutes. I'll get back to this and proceed with the next slide to discuss. Okay, so what I have shown you is creating an autonomous database. So I'm sure most of you are already familiar with what an Oracle database is. Oracle database is one of the most trusted and widely used relational database that we have today. So it's still the most popular database out there when it comes to corporate IT. So it runs at the center of many corporate IT environments and supports a mix of different workloads. So it can be used for transaction processing, business intelligence, and analytics applications. So what I have shown you is creating an autonomous database. It's still the same full-featured Oracle database that you get when you install enterprise edition of an Oracle database. So it's like the one that are used by big corporations, but now that it's in a cloud and autonomous, so it's self-driving, which means you don't have to worry about installation and configuration like what I've shown you. It's just a couple of, no, just a few clicks to create your own database. And then it's self-securing, so you don't have to worry about encryption. Everything by default is encrypted and it's hardened to resist against malicious actors and attacks. So everything is the connection is encrypted by default. You can connect using a unsecure secure connection from this. Then it's also self-repairing, so you don't have to worry about patches. So performance tuning is automated by Oracle Cloud, and then patching and upgrading the version is automated, so you don't have to worry about those things. Now, what's excellent about what Oracle provides? When you sign on for a free account, it includes what is called always free services. So there's you can create two autonomous databases that so there are three configurations of an autonomous database that is free, always free. So even if you have completed your 30-day free trial, these databases will continue to be available for free. So it has some limitations. You can only create two databases. It's limited to one CPU. There's also a limit on the size, so it can only go up to 2 gigabytes each. Along with that, there's also you also get 2 VMs, so you can actually using this free option, you can build your own application stack. So you can create a more full-featured application, and with load balancing and also monitoring and notifications built in. Today we're going to look at one of the application development platform that's available in on the autonomous database, and that is the Oracle Apex. So Oracle Apex is a low-code development platform. So it enables you to build, scale, and create enterprise scale secure enterprise apps with world-class features. So it's simple because it's easy to use and learn. So it has a rich browser-based interface that allows you to create your application. It has powerful components that enable you to add high level of functionality to your app with limited coding. So it's powerful and proven. This has been available for almost 20 years now. So it started in the latest in the first iteration. It used to be called HTML by Oracle, but now it has continued to evolve and mature. So it's very modern framework. So it's been used by a lot of by tens of thousands of users and used to power thousands of applications around the globe for years. So it's also secure. So it evolves in a world of ever-changing web standards, and it also evolves in terms of security standards. And so you can be sure that it's not easy to be compromised by hackers. Then it's also portable. So once you have an Oracle database and Oracle Apex, the application is easy to deploy in those environments. So the Oracle Apex provides support for three different distinct developer persona. So it caters to these three levels of skills and experience for Apex users. So first, you have the no code users. These are typically business users. So an Apex user can easily build applications within the scope of forms, reports, and charts using a simple point-and-click user interface. So this is fully functional application that is also very productive. Then, if you have IT department developers or operational teams, or maybe even DBAs that have limited application development experience, as long as they know how to, as long as they have some experience in SQL and or PL SQL, they can add business functionality to those applications, those forms, reports, and charts with little developer experience. And then finally, you have the full programmatic users. So these are the ones with advanced development skills that knows JavaScript, CSS, HTML, client-side frameworks. They can use those things to embed to Oracle Apex. It has a plug-in system, so there's actually a large number of plugins that are available for Oracle Apex that you can take and then embed in your application to get more functionality out of Apex. And one more thing that needs to be noted is that Oracle Apex is actually architecturally integrated into an Oracle database. So it's in terms of performance, there's little to no network delay from an application server to a database server because the application Apex application itself runs on the Oracle database. Now, let me go back to the instance, the autonomous database instance that I have created. So you can see that I have already, it's already available. So I'm going to create an Apex workspace from this autonomous database. So I just have to go to the service console. Then out of the box, there's already an Oracle Apex installed with this instance. Now I have logged into the administration service so I can create an Oracle Apex workspace where we can build our sample application. Okay, now you can see just within a span of 10 minutes, I was able to create an Oracle autonomous database and then create an Apex workspace where I can continue to create a very useful application. So I'm going to turn over to Rona for the demo to create the Oracle database. I mean the Apex application.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. So yeah, I'm also hoping that you're all safe wherever you may be at the moment. So I am Rona Cadano. Part of my current responsibilities is leading the Oracle Apex development team in Accenture Philippines. And yeah, let's get started. So I am sharing now my screen. And as you can see here, we have seen Joe creating the autonomous database, Tech Explore 2020, which I will be navigating now to create the application. So you've heard from Clark what a rapid web development is and its value in our competition in terms of business. Then, yeah, Joe also has explained what Oracle Apex Application Express, which is the rapid web development tool that we are using. So from here, from that autonomous database that Joe has created, I will access that workspace, and that's where we will start developing our application. Sorry, Joe, so that was web.
It's Apex.
So when we see rapid, so it means we will do this the fast way. So actually, we will be using the no code to low code technique of web development. Apex Web. Okay, so we're in. So the use case that I will be using now, since we are here in the application builder, so this is the default homepage when we log into Apex, right? So we have this create button that will direct us to the creation wizard of the page, and we have multiple options here. So what the use case that I want us to imagine is, remember, currently, if let's say we are in an emergency crisis, so to speak, and with the current situation of COVID-19, actually it's easy for us to relate. Then for organizations like us, it is very important for us to track our resources. So it's very important for us to know if they are safe, are they capable to report online, or do they need interventions? Sounds like HR stuff, right? And we can imagine receiving a CSV file from HR that actually looks like this. So we have the work date and this person, of course, these are made up names. So this person reported and was actually working from home, and she's on a day shift, and some are still reporting in the office and they're on night shift. So let's imagine such CSV information are provided, and then actually what I'm going to show you is through rapid web development technique with this autonomous database, with application express sitting on the autonomous database, we can create an application with rich data visualization without us doing any coding. So from here, upload a file. So let's drag and drop that CSV file that contains the whereabouts of an employee, daily whereabouts. So is the employee reporting online or sick leave or vacation leave? And then it will bring us here. So we just need to provide the table name for this one. Let's say we are working for Ace Company. And then it will load the data for us. It will create the database table for us, and it will load the data. So say it was actually fast. So 418 rows inserted in just like 1 or 2 seconds. Then, so that's the database, that's the table that has been created, records inserted, and we will go ahead and create the application. And I will not be switching screen, so we will see how Apex is creating the application for us. Actually, it has created it already. So it's really rapid. So what we're gonna do here, as you can see here, it created rich visualizations of data. So we have the dashboard, which I'm gonna go through in more details later. And let's just hit create application. So it's now creating the application for us. And once this is done, we're ready to launch the application. So like it's already live. So when we run this application, it will auto create the login page for us. So that's part of the security features of Apex. So it auto created a login page for us. And then as what I've said earlier, so we have the dashboard, we have the search feature. So all this were coming from the spreadsheet, from the CSV file that we have loaded earlier. So for example, if this is the home page, right? So Apex has created 5 pages for us without us doing any coding. So 0 coding. And I'll show you later how we can customize one of the pages or create a page with very less coding. So here from the home page, we can click on the dashboard. And here we have we will be able to see the pie charts and some bar graphs, and we can always customize this. So for example, for the work location, we can see here that most of them are working from home and some reported or like some are sick leave, availed some sick leave, but I've said these are not actual data, so don't worry. So for example, here, when we click the pie chart portion for sick leave, so we were directed here to this company's report. So this is an interactive report, and we can do so many things in here. One of the examples is to, for example, if we want to highlight some of the data here. So for example, where work date, or let's say we wanted to highlight an employee. So if we want to delete this particular filter coming from the pie chart, we can do so. And now we're down to all employees here. And if we do highlight, for example, we wanted to see how Jin Lee was doing. So we click on the name, and then let's say when it is Jin Lee, then mark it with red and apply. So one interesting thing here is that any customizations that we're doing on this page is visible only to us, only to this session. So any other user that are navigating to this page, they will not see whatever we're doing here. Like we can do charting, we can do aggregate, and any other customizations of this interactive report, but that would be visible on our session only. So that's the good part of it. So that's the second page, the report. And then there's also one interesting page here that was created for us without coding, sorry. So we have here the search. For example, we are only concerned about Adora. So when we click that one, so it's filtered, so that's easy. Then the last page here is the calendar. So we can always customize this one. At the moment, it's showing us a preview of how many were online, how many availed vacation, or how many availed sick leave. So that's what we have here. Now, hope that's clear. So we did all of these pages without coding. Isn't it interesting? So what if we wanted to deploy this application to employees so that they can check in, no more CSV, no more spreadsheet tracking. We want employees to log in here straight. So we're needing one page, which is a form so they can check in. So that's when we will start to creating pages. But Apex has rich templates that we can just select, like form. Okay, so I want to create a form and I want to name it check-in, and on submit I want to reroute to page one, and then just click on next, and then it will ask us to which table will it be pointing to. So of course it will be pointing to the table that we have created earlier. Then select the primary key, which was also auto-provided by Oracle Autonomous Database for us. Then voila, so we have the page for login. I mean for check-in. So we already have the page by just those few clicks. If we run this one, so user will now have a check-in page. Now let's move to low coding. So what if we want to default this work date? I don't want users to be like mistaken on what date they're referring to when they work. So I want to default this one to the current date. So let's go to the work date. And again, it's simple. When we go to the default, so this is the low coding. Okay, let's default it to the current date. Let's just check. So Apex has a code validator, which is perfect for, yeah, for even for beginners. So just save that one. So that's one line of code. And there. So it's defaulted to the current date. So again, this status can be like a drop down. You can customize that one. But for now, let's say, yes, I'm online. And then actually I'm working from home. And I'm on a day shift. And hit create. And there, it created a record for me. So I'm already done for the day. I've logged in. So when we go to company search, expect me to be present. So when we go search for my name, there. So on 5/5, I was online and I was working from home. So fairly simple. And one more thing that is actually good here is that all Apex applications that are created here are responsive, meaning even if we choose or even if we switch to other device, I'm trying to simulate it here. So if we, for example, visit this website on a mobile screen, then everything will still fit there. So it will auto adjust the templates and all the components, so they are still on their best viewable layout. So that Apex is doing it for us. You know, I remember I was a traditional web developer way back in 2012, and we need to code in HTML, JavaScript, and there is CSS to style your pages separately. But here, as you can see, Apex is doing it for us. So as you can remember, I only did one line of code here. So we have here this application ready for any size of screen. And we can, this is portrait mode, and we can switch to landscape. If you have tablets or something, then it will still be visible. Yep. So that's actually the end of this demo. Hope you got interested on using Oracle Application Express. And I personally fell in love with this rapid web development tool, so to speak, since way back in 2015, as I've told you. So from a traditional web developer, then I found this, I met this tool, and on top of the autonomous database, and it's perfect actually for competition within the business or clients. So in terms of productivity and maintainability, so we don't need to get bogged down by maintenance activities. And the web application development is rapid, so as the deployment, since it sits on Oracle Cloud as a service. And above all, Oracle offers a powerful free offering that beats the competition. Thank you. That's all from my end.
Okay, thank you, Rona. There are questions that are appearing in the chat window, so I'll start with some of these interesting things. So one interesting question was how did Rona access the database created by Joe? I didn't see Joe sharing any database. So that's the awesome thing about having this done in the cloud. So if you notice, Joe logged in using cloud.oracle.com. He created the database there. And then Rona was also accessing the same cloud.oracle.com, access that same account. So essentially, it's different. It's called it's a cloud account, but they're different user IDs. So Joe obviously granted Rona access to that same account, so she's able to access that database that he created and passed it on to Rona. One of the things, if you guys have not also noticed, is that Rona never put. We were all developing inside the browser. We did not install anything on our laptop or our desktop. Everything here was you can develop everything straight from the browser. So that's the power of cloud. And going back to the theme, we need to rapidly develop. You don't want to be bogged down by having to install stuff, create, install a bunch of plugins and all that. You want to be able to, if you have an idea, the whole concept is being to the first to deliver that idea is the one who will actually will have the advantage. So that's one of the key things if you have not noticed in the way that this demo was done. Maybe another question, and maybe Joe can help me here. There was a question on security. So how is this platform secured? So if you notice as well, we just ordered the database onto the cloud. We didn't do anything, we didn't install, but if you notice, it's already running in HTTPS. So by default, you have created an application that's already built in with a certificate that enables your transactions to be automatically encrypted. What Rona hasn't also shown here, but what's obviously comes along with it is the ability to have user identity management, meaning you can create user, you can grant user for specific roles, specific functions. So that's literally also available from there. That's such an application level. But what's also interesting, because we were using an autonomous database, one of the key things when you're talking about security is always making sure your system is patched. 90% of the time, hacking happens when someone did not patch their system. With autonomous database, as Joe showed in an earlier slide, it's actually self-patching. You don't even have to worry about patching the database. It actually self-patches. If as long as a new patch comes out, it actually patches itself. Again, the power of the cloud is in our hands. And again, what's equally interesting, this is all free, right? This is a free. It comes as a free tier offering from Oracle. And so you all of these features actually come free. If you were building this using another platform, you have to create your own. You have to register for a certificate. You have to register. You have to enable that certificate. You have to create your own security. So that's actually the cool stuff about going back to the theme of being able to build something quickly and not being bogged down by other aspects when you're actually building an application.
Yeah, to add to that, Lark. So the database connection is secured. You can't actually connect to the database if you're not using the secure option. You have to connect using a certificate that is you can only download from the cloud console. And in addition, the application itself, you're not writing the HTML code and JavaScript code by default. You're going low code and no code. So those are secured against web attacks. So cross-site scripting, those type of attacks are not something that you will expect to be that will be a vector for hackers to attack your application.
Thank you, Joe. The other question that just came out, is it possible to incorporate Oracle Apex to my personal web project? I'm going to try to understand this question, if you can clarify what that is. But the answer is that Oracle Apex, you can register on your own personally. Like Joe said, like any other web platform, you unfortunately need to provide a credit card information, but it's not going to charge you. It comes in free. You can actually create your own personal web project, traditional web project using that platform, and it comes as long as you're using the free tier, you're not going to get charged, and you can use it for your personal projects. Another interesting question that came up is, in what ways do companies use autonomous databases? Which departments are more likely to use it, and which are the most likely not to? So very, very good question. One of the things, what's happening currently in the industry today is the concept of trying to get the departments more independent. Meaning, like I said, going back to the theme of, if you have an idea, wouldn't it be great if you can actually build it already and show people? So the term is democratize, to democratize the information. So this is great for departments that actually just want to be able to build something quickly. You don't want your IT department to be, because when you actually ask for an environment or a way to develop, you actually ask for your IT department, can I get some compute? Can I get a server? Can I get some disk space to actually do this, to actually do your, but if you're a department and you just need something to show quickly, again, it's a database. You store your data there. Once you have the data there, you can do a lot of magical things, as what Rona showed, right? You have the data there, you can view the data, you can draw charts with the data, and you can actually now have an ability to now modify the data in there. So it's really powerful stuff that you can do. You're no longer bogged down by having to be dependent on external IT departments. Let's see. I think let me just double check if I've actually got all of the questions here. Okay. So there's an additional question. How to grant user access? Do the users need Oracle accounts, and can you designate levels of access? So very good question. Levels of access. So let's do this at let me try to dissect that question. So first off, what Joe did is to register for an account, right? If you are the one who registered, you're designated as the owner of that account. From there, as what Joe, we did it obviously in the background, Joe actually granted Rona access to that cloud account. Within that cloud account, you can actually now create things within the Oracle stack like databases, virtual machines, load balancers, disks, all of that. And within that cloud account, you can actually assign user levels, which ones are allowed to create databases, which ones are allowed to create virtual machines, which ones are allowed to actually modify the network. Now, that's access at the cloud level. Now you can start talking about the database level. So at the database level, Joe created an Oracle database. From that Oracle database, you can actually grant people which data you want to have people access to it. So in the case of Joe, Joe created the database, but Joe only granted access to Rona to create an application on top of the database. So Rona doesn't have access to the rest of the database. So it's very interesting. There's a whole concept about security and how you can do security, perform security with platforms like this. So it's very, very interesting because again, everything is now just point and click. You just choose the level of security, and you can get the security as granular as you can get it to be.
Yeah, I would also like to add in the point perspective of the application. So what Clark has talked about is actually backend access. So if you're a developer, a system administrator, so how do you access the backend, right? But if once you have created the application, there are actually multiple ways where you can authenticate your users to access your application. So there's an Apex authentication built in where you can create accounts for the user so they can access your application. There's also like OAuth authentication, or so you can use Facebook or Microsoft to log into your application. And then you can also create so the Facebook and Microsoft are actually called social sign-in. So it's like when you are connecting to applications nowadays, right? It will ask you to connect to that application using your account in Facebook or Google or Microsoft. Then you can also create your own custom application. So you can actually build your own authentication mechanism for your application. So there's a lot of options there.
Okay, thanks, Joe. This is going to be interesting. I think I might need your help, Joe. Are there famous applications that uses the Oracle Autonomous Database Cloud? So maybe to answer, I think for the most part, Joe, I remember you saying there's a site that's actually using Application Express by default. I can't remember which one that is.
There are a lot of sites using Application Express. I just don't know which one is using the autonomous deployment option.
Yep, and it's widely used a lot. Again, not obviously if you're asking me who's using it, obviously Oracle Corporation is using that. If you actually go to various sites of Oracle, like they're actually using this technology underneath that. If you send me your your email, I can actually send you. I just don't have it handy. if you send me your email or contact information, I can send you examples of sites where that's actually being used.
Yeah, Clark, to add to that, I think we can give some insight, like what kind of industry are using Oracle Apex applications. Like what I'm aware of is financials and billing, and we also have pharmaceutical sites using Oracle Application Express as the technology for building their application.
Thank you, Rona. Okay, I have a question. I might need your help, Joe, here. In my project, I have been using NoSQL. Does Apex have this data store, or should I reinitiate the project? If not, would it be as fast or faster without improving the algorithm in the code or SQL?
Yeah, NoSQL is a different database type. Oracle has a NoSQL database available in the cloud. It's not part of the free option. However, if you have like a your data source that is that can be exposed like as a JSON format, so there's actually a way to for Oracle Express, Application Express to ingest that data via REST API. So Oracle Apex has an Apex exec framework where they can ingest different types of data sources and present it like what Rona showed you is like a table. So even though it's not really a table residing in your database application, it can be a REST API that exposes JSON format. So Apex can ingest that endpoint. So that can be coming from a NoSQL database, and then it can present it in a like a table. So you can use however you use Oracle tables in Apex, it can also be used in that way. So you can actually like connect to a movie database that exposes their movie data in a REST API JSON and create your own movie application using that framework. But no, inside there's no NoSQL by the built-in. There's no NoSQL database built-in within Oracle Apex, but you can ingest data from a NoSQL application.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Just gonna do a quick check for more questions. But you guys have very, very good questions and very challenging. But so I hope I get by the quality of questions, I think you guys are learning a lot and you're able to see the art of the puzzle. Like I said, going back to the theme, innovation is the key. You have an idea. You don't want to be bogged down by the nuances. You want to be able to build something and show something fairly quickly. I think we're done. I don't see any more questions popping up. So to close it out, we'd love to hear your feedback on tonight's session. Please go to menti.com and use the code 265503 to answer our short survey. Again, menti.com, 265503. And with that, I'd like to thank you everyone for spending your evening with us, and I'd like to thank our expert, content expert here, Joe and Rona, for sharing their experience and insights. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.